I'm excited for this one. I know we're like, what, 10 days late on 2026 predictions, but I think the way that we're doing it is pretty unique. And it's fun to bring some sort of like outside opinions in as well. Do you guys both want to start with a quick intro, set the stage, who you are, what you do, and we can start? Jason, I can let you go first.
Sure, yeah. I'm Jason. I'm like head of markets and macro at Delphi Research. And yeah, we kind of write a lot of deep dives on macro landscape, kind of short-term stuff as well. A lot of everything with respect to markets and crypto macro overlap.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm Cedrus, head of research at Delphi. Been here for coming up on 4 years now. I was just on CT before, like 2019. So, yeah, I mean, we're coming on here. We did these year ahead reports at the end of the year. These are kind of like our team's big predictions for kind of like how we think the next year is going to shape out. And then we did this kind of like sponsorship with Polymarket to actually get some stuff on their portal. So yeah, it should be fun. Like it's something that this is our first time doing it, right? Like creating prediction markets for Polymarket, but I think there's like a lot of interesting stuff that you can kind of do here with research where you're actually kind of like seeing if the market like agrees or disagrees with what you're kind of thinking, right?
How did you guys do in 2025? Also, Jason, I texted Simon and was like, do you have any fun lore for me or anything? And he said you had some kind of goated trading run over the last 18 months or something like this.
I mean, personally, I mean, 2025 was good up until the last, pretty much from 10-10.
Yeah.
It was great up until 10-10 for me. But yeah, no, I've had a pretty much from, I guess, what, end of 23 through 25. I was just like very early to like memes and stuff before like Ansem and stuff started, like getting it really popular on crypto Twitter. So like I was a beneficiary of that.
I mean, the Jason lore is that when I joined Delphi, Jason was the Bear King. And
so we joined in 21.
Every day was bearish. He was literally bearish for like two straight years. And then one day he's like full ported bonk and whiff. And he just like, he went from being like so bearish on everything and correct about that to then just going the furthest out on the risk curve. And
it worked. It was great.
Like it worked,
It was awesome. And then like, hitting things like Coinbase and Robinhood in TradFi land, like back in that time as well. And then Hype was like the last big one that I kind of like, I mean, I was trading on Hype in like the testnet and stuff. Like I was very like early to trading Hype because or trading on Hype because I heard Jeff's like initial podcast with Corey Hoffstein, Flirting with Models is the podcast when he kind of went on when
that was early.
Hyperliquid was still in test. Yeah, that was in like May 23 is when I heard about it. Damn. And then I was trading on it, right? And then airdrop, I still have everything. I've bought more since. I haven't sold any, and I'm just like very bullish Hype. So like, yeah, it's just a really good run of like 2 to 3 years of kind of like compounding a couple big winners one after the other. And yeah.
My quick
lot of luck.
Hyperliquid story, and I'll ask you guys one question we get started, is the first time I ever talked to Base16Z, who is friend of the stream, one of our goats, in December 2023, I think it was. I got on a call with him, and I was with Frank in person. We called him, met him for the first time, and I was like, what do you think is interesting in crypto? What should I pay attention to? And he's like, I think everything's pretty lame, but you should probably farm this Hyperliquid thing. I'm like, what's Hyperliquid? And he's like, bro, I don't know, just whatever, like, just look at it. You probably farm it. And yeah, Hyperliquid becomes Hyperliquid. So, okay, to set the stage here, before we get into some predictions, is you were the bear. One day you woke up, got super excited, full ported everything. And here we are now, January, 9th or something like this? 2020, I think the 9th, 2026. And crypto's in a weird spot. Like, I mean, Bitcoin's at 90K, but post 1010, I feel like there's a little bit of this like confidence death almost separated from price. And what exactly are we doing here in the micro CT sphere? But you zoom out, everywhere you look, every financial institution, everywhere is like crypto. A16Z, I was covering this, just announced a $15 billion investment raise. And basically the two things that they say is, in order to push the policies of, the country in the right direction, it's supercharging AI and crypto. Every sentence they mention AI, they also mention crypto. And so there's this degree of separation between the CT natives of what the fuck are we doing here, and then Trump admin, financial institutions, maybe a lot of the venture funds that are like, oh my God, crypto is the greatest thing ever. So both of you, just a level set, how are we feeling going into 2026? And then we can get in some micro stuff.
I mean, the
Quickly
one thing
go.
I'll say
Yeah,
is
you go
that
first, yeah.
it's not just CT, I think, that has this. Like, a lot of liquid funds probably feel this way. A lot of VCs probably feel this
Yeah,
way.
I
Like,
see
there's been
why.
a lot of there's been like a lot of money coming in, but there's just been so many new assets created that it's actually been hard. Like, so the market cap has gone up a lot, but it's been over like thousands of new assets, right? And so there haven't really been, if you think about last year, there was basically one trade. It was Hyperliquid,
Yeah.
right? There's like little things you could have done in between, and like Zcash at the end of the year, but there's like one big trade. I think that this year, I do expect to see a decent amount of relief. I think though that the like dispersion we've seen over the last few years is just something that's going to stick with us for basically ever now, which makes like being a passive investor quite tough because asset selection just matters so much.
Brutal.
And like the one thing I'll say that could make it a little easier is that a lot of these projects that haven't done unlocks are actually trading below like last private round price. So like valuations have come down a lot.
Yeah.
Right. But it's just like a way different market environment. Like, you're not seeing things launch at crazy FTVs anymore. People want to see, the whole token versus equity thing that everyone's been talking about recently is like, people want to see, one, they want to see actual hard numbers of like profitable protocols. And two, they want to make sure that what they're buying is not some like Fugazi, bullshit token that doesn't get them anything, right? So I think you're going to see, that's like honestly the biggest theme to me in the next year is this whole token versus equity thing. And like, how do we make tokens that look like equity, basically? Like, that's kind of the holy grail, is you want to get tokens that start looking more like equity.
I think this is our biggest problem, by the way.
It is, for sure. Our market structure has always been a mess. So it does kind of seem like this is the first time that there's a lot of people trying to like fix this. Some from the regulatory side, some from protocol side, like MetaDAO or something, or other launch pads. I think the biggest risk is just we get like bad legislation that keeps us in this zone of like convoluted legal structures and things to make these things not exactly equity, but then it's like, what are you really getting with it, right? So
okay, we got 3 years on the legislation side to
pretty much.
to
I mean, Cedric nailed it.
Anything you want to add, Jason, on how you're positioned? But by the way, just on the point is, 2025 had to have been the death for most venture and like liquid funds, because there was a few trades on the on-chain side. Like, you could have hit Trump, you could have hit Aster, you could have hit Plasma for a day, but there's no way to position in those as a fund. Like, this impossible. So it was Hyperliquid or death, I think. But yeah, give me your positioning, Jason, and then we can rip some markets.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough. So pretty much after 1010, I spent like 2 to 3 weeks just getting absolutely chopped up and boned, right? Like buying the wicks on a bunch of things after big liquidation cascades typically are very profitable opportunities. They just weren't, right? And so like I just kind of took a step back. I still own like, spot Bitcoin, spot hype, a couple other, things like that, as like long-term, very high conviction holds. But like from a deploying fresh capital perspective, like pretty much from like November, middle of November on, I'm just like, there's no reason to deploy into crypto through now until year end. There's so many like structural reasons as to why selling will continue, that it just doesn't really make sense to catch the knife. Just like wait until after the new year, see if you see a reset in, structural flows. We had a couple months of consistent ETF outflows. DATs are, completely tapped out, some selling stuff. To your point, liquid funds getting blown out all year, probably selling off crappy risk. people window dressing, getting rid of really ugly exposure. You know, you don't want to show LP statements with, you know, like fart coin that's down
Yeah.
90% or something, right? So you have like all of these things. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to take the first couple weeks in January to kind of see, like, is it just more of the same, or is it like an actual difference in risk appetite and structural market dynamics? And, you know, for the first couple days of the year, I was like, ooh, it's kind of looking decent. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden it's kind of just resumed that, you know, that 9:30 New York Open selling type shit that marked every day for the last couple months. So for me, I think I'm not really super in a rush to like deploy fresh capital. I
Mhm.
think Q1 will generally be bullish overall, and I think there's just a lot of things to look forward to this year that there weren't last year. Right, you have like a new Fed chair coming in May or whatever. I think Besant was kind of talking about how that appointment might be announced, or you know, candidates who are in the final round announced relatively soon. So markets have that to look forward to. And again, like you have midterms in November too. So like to me, it seems like risk on, or like, you know, the administration will do as best as they can to be as, you know, accommodative to a risk on asset environment into that. Like it just seems very likely. So like from a medium to long term, I'm kind of bullish this year with those things in mind. I just think we're still working through a lot of the carnage from 1010. A lot of people got just wrecked. There's just minimal bid right now. And I think you just maybe watch like exchanges, like watch risk appetite and trading activity. Are volumes increasing? Is open interest increasing, right? Are you seeing people kind of flow back into the market as kind of like a sign that risk appetite is back in crypto, is like the way I'm kind of gauging the month of January.
I like the take. I think two things, and then we could start. Number one is, I just want crypto to pick a fucking direction, even if it's down. Just pick a trend here. The bar up, bar down is just like insufferable and drives people nuts, especially when there's not much of an on-chain environment happening. And then one thing that doesn't get mentioned at all in the predictions and doesn't get discussed anymore seemingly is, I like this tweet, man. Like Arthur0x, who I think is pretty smart guy, tweets, that was a mistake for crypto and collectively drank the Kool-Aid once again. Co-tweeted by D Gills. Nobody drank the Kool-Aid. We all knew it was a scam and said so the whole time. Only people who didn't were the insiders profiting from it. And I think the nuance here is that, one, this is true. Two, I don't even really think the insiders made very much money.
No, definitely not on like the latest ones. You look at a lot of the ones like I was actually looking at them yesterday, like Forward Industries.
What was his
Solana
entry?
one.
230?
Yeah, like that's trading at a 0.68 MNAV now.
0.68, and their
Too.
entry on Solana was 230 with $1.5 billion,
Yeah,
right?
so you're probably down like 70% or something, right? If you're like, if you did that.
I think 237 was their average entry.
The DATs are just like, yeah, basically in crypto, what happens is you get this new thing, you get this new game. You had it with DeFi Summer, you know, then people figure it out, and then there's no more money to be made. Then it was like NFTs, people figured out there's no more money to be made. Then meme coins, and then like the perp thing, and like DATs were just another example of this. And you knew that, like, my issue with whenever these things kind of happen is like, so many people would tell you you're mid IQ for like,
For not getting
thinking that like it shouldn't trade at an MNAV premium, right? Like to me, it was always
I still don't get it, by the way.
It was like why should these things actually ever trade at a premium? Like if anything, they should be a discount because they're like locked. So, and people would come up with all these crazy convoluted reasons, and like, you know, the one with like hedge funds couldn't buy certain ETFs, like, okay, that one kind of made sense to me, but all the other stuff was like, did not seem real. And then I think that we do a better job now, I guess, of like sniffing out things and killing them
Yes.
quicker. Like this the DATs topped in like August from the MNAV perspective, right? Like people thought this was going to go on for at least like a year or so more.
It was a
right?
disaster. You know, I thought to myself, I'll never forget this. Quick story. We'll start because it's a good one. One of the first streams in, I don't know, probably June of 25, before this whole thing really went crazy, I had Udi and David Bailey come on, and Naka had like just launched, and it's up only, and these DATs didn't really, like, I think was it Metaplanet had like just launched, and they come on the stream, and I had only been doing meme coins in like on-chain Solana for the last year, and so they come on the stream and they're explaining everything you're doing is a waste of time. Treasury companies, Bitcoin treasury companies, all that matters. And so I was very open-minded, and I'm like, all right, I realize that this is not my domain, and I don't really understand MicroStrategy that well. And these two smart guys, I think Udi is a really smart guy. These two smart guys are telling me that this is the future, and so maybe I'm missing something here, but I don't really understand it. And so so David Bailey comes on. He's basically like, yeah, we're making like $1 million a day and $100 million on every DAT launch. Like, there's this clip. It's actually a pretty bad clip in January 2026. And I'm gonna make it basically like I'm gonna make $1 billion from this on these DAT launches. And for the next week, I proceeded to interview as many people as I possibly could to come on and talk about DATs. And by the end of the week, I was like, actually, I don't think I'm missing anything, and this is just retarded. Completely. Like, what is a ETH DAT in the ETF era? Who's the Hyperliquid? Maybe. Fine, I get it. Fine. Hyperliquid, you could convince me that makes sense. But who is the marginal buyer on even strategy at this point? Like, I don't get it. And definitely, Jack Mallers and like Bitcoin DAT number 7. It makes no sense. Nobody made any money from it, and it was a complete disaster. And I think that hurt sentiment amongst crypto people a little bit. So yeah, I think we're aligned on that.
Yeah, I think absolutely nailed it. Yeah,
I don't think there's much more to say on DATs. It was just yeah. We'll see what we come up with next.
Yeah, we'll see what we come up with next.
Oh, you know what the worst part of that was though, where people like, why are you guys complaining? The TradFi's buying your bags. You guys should be happy.
They bought nothing. They're buying Lock Solana.
This is like retail people who don't know what they're buying or
they're buying Lock Solana. Like, it's
5x. It's Lock Solana at 5x the cost, and then it's like, it just reminded me of like the grayscale ETH. From that last cycle.
Disaster. Cool. We're aligned on that. So all right. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
so
sir.
I basically have this pretty, I don't know, decently well organized Notion document. Shout out to Luke King and Daniel, where we have like, I don't know, 20 markets on here. Some are your guys's, some are mine, and then some I think are just like relatively interesting crypto markets. And so I say we just start ripping it. We could just start going through some of these and we could talk about it. So first one here is, will stablecoins hit 500 billion before 2027? And so to layer a little bit of context on here, I have DeFi
Llama. It was 200 bill to start last year, and then it got to like 300. So it added 100 bill. So you basically need double that this year.
Stablecoins have been like the story amongst crypto over the last, 2 years. It's been a little bit frustrating for me, honestly, because all anyone wants to talk about is stablecoin. And for like retail traders, there's not that many ways to get exposure to these things. I mean, you could have maybe gotten destroyed on Athena, but they're not, or bought Plasma, right? There isn't like that much you could do. So this one actually has a good amount of volume so far. What do you guys think about this market?
I mean, for me, I think I wouldn't say it's like an easy yes, but like if I was to put on the bet today and just hold it for the year, like I think it's more likely than not. Especially, what's the current?
Current is 307 billion, and then January.
And it's at 45. Yeah, I mean, it's probably like pretty accurately priced, honestly, at like 45-50%. But like I do think stablecoin total market cap probably hits 500 billion in the next year.
So January 1st, 25. We started open at 205 billion, and then
I would say that tempo is like the one here that's probably going to make or break this.
Interesting,
right? I don't think it would hit 500 bill with the current crop, but if tempo ends up kind of like blowing it out, Stripe could one day just say, "Oh, we're going to put 5% of our settlement on tempo," and just mint that and. That's like a massive number, right?
How impactful do you think this number is, total stablecoin market cap, on Bitcoin price?
That's a good question.
If it goes into Tether, it's impactful.
Yeah.
If it's like these corporate chains doing their accounting, like Tempo and Stripe, it's not impactful. So it kind of depends where it comes from, I would say. I think that any stablecoin increasing Bitcoin at this point in time is probably over. Like in early days,
Yeah.
it was pretty instrumental, right? Because the fiat rails were just kind of weak, and like people denominated everything in Bitcoin in early
Yeah.
days, right? So I think it's probably less impactful at this point. It's definitely more important for the L1s, like Ethereum, Solana.
What is the Scott Bassett number? Is like 10 billion is the number they want to get to.
10 trillion.
Say that again.
Or I mean 10 trillion. Excuse me. That's the number that's been floated around by Trump admin, I think. Scott Bassett, maybe. Tulip King says 5 trill is the number that they want to get to. I don't know what the time frame is on that, but I've heard that number thrown around a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, the last like interview I think I saw with him was like he was like forecasting 3 to 5 trillion over the. It wasn't over the next year, but like over the next couple years.
Yeah.
Maybe I think it was like by 2030, I believe it was when I saw that. But yeah, he was forecasting 3 to 5 trillion. And like obviously, stablecoins are a big buyer of U.S. Treasuries, systemically important, or will continue to be. So like, they do kind of play an important role, which is why like institutions and everybody in TradFi are super interested. Was people in crypto don't really care. So
we have like a running joke
yeah.
in our chat where every day I send the 1 day. Tulip King is obsessed with the 5 trillion number, and so every day I send our. So this government he sent a link. This government report estimates 2 trillion by 2028. So yeah, this guy has to accelerate. But I send this every day. The 1 day change.
The 1 day change.
It's a piece of shit, bro. It does nothing. It never moves. As you can see here, I've been doing it for like 2 months, and it's just like a complete piece of shit.
And like to your point, there's no good real way to like get exposure to it as like
a
retail investor. It's very difficult. Like
yeah, the big stablecoin bull case, and this goes into the next prediction market we have up on the notes.
Okay.
Is actually if you start getting non-US stablecoins as well, right? So a lot of people kind of think that right now the stablecoins, they're 99.77% US dollar based, okay? A lot of people have kind of taken this to come to the conclusion that there's not demand for non-USD stablecoins, right? And so for an individual who wants to store yes, that's probably like all true. However, what this kind of misses is that it misses like the entire FX market, right? Like the FX market does 7.5 trillion every day in volume. Okay? 7.5 trillion. That's like the final boss. And if you're talking about getting volume on chain, like can you imagine if we even took like 5% of the FX
Who's working
market
on that
every day on chain? Well, it's like it's getting stable coins launched in these different jurisdictions, right? The hard part about it still is that to go the last mile to actually go to like somebody's bank account, there's still the fiat system that needs to be integrated, and so that it's not perfect. But if you're just talking about like FX swaps and stuff, which is like 3.5 trillion a day, versus spot is like 2 trillion a day.
Jeez.
That's just like banks basically borrowing money from each other for the day, settling at like the end of day, right? Like this is such a massive market. And right now, the way the FX market works is you go through like 4 different correspondent banks, right? Like you send it, it goes to a middle bank, goes to the receiving bank's middle bank, then goes to that bank. Like stablecoins, this is kind of what they're meant to do, right? Is disrupt this whole industry. And if you start getting that on chain, and then you have these pretty big, like there have been some FX DeFi protocols like over the past couple of years, but the thing is they're just so low volume because it's like how much euros do we have on chain, right?
Yeah.
Like a few. I don't even know if we have a billion of any other.
So what's your take on this happening?
I think that this becomes like a pretty interesting market at like these kind of like low numbers, right? If US dollars like 300 bill now, that means you need 3 bill of non-US currencies. It really just takes one.
That doesn't seem that crazy at all.
No, it's kind of like if it happens, it'll happen kind of quick, right? You just need one regulatory environment, one other country or continent.
Here's a funny comment. Someone said, this is such a funny prediction because it should so obviously be yes because of the euro, but the EU will fight it tooth and nail.
Yeah,
like that's do you trust Europe to do that? Like, no.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that in 5 years from now, I would be pretty disappointed if we don't have a pretty vibrant FX market on chain. Right?
Interesting. I didn't know they was doing that kind of volume. That's insane.
Yeah. So it's just like a massive, massive market. And this is, I mean, this is actually Max Resnick from like, he works on the Solana client.
Oh, okay.
This has always been his like big bull case for Solana is like FX is what we need to win. All this on-chain NASDAQ stuff, it's still like FX is like the holy grail, right? So this is something that I hope we finally see like other countries are like hopefully at this point kind of like tuning into what's going on, right? And like, do you really want the U.S.
How much
just
volume does the U.S. stocks do every day?
I'm not sure. Let me
I could probably just Google that, right?
chat GPT it.
Not Claude. The big 2.6. Chat
I
GPT.
mean, do you need Claude if you're just like
GPT and
asking
2.6, man.
half a trillion
Half
per
a
day.
trillion. Whoa. It was
And
way
this
less.
does, yeah, this is 7.5.
Oh my
for FX.
god.
And
That's-
the bond market does more than
How much does the bond market do?
actually not that much more. It does 600 to 700 bill, US equities 500 bill, global equities 3 to 400, and then FX 7.5. So FX is 15x US stocks. It's just like,
Whoa.
and it makes so much sense for crypto to have these rails because it's super simple, right? They're stable coins. They're like, there's nothing complicated. They're not securities. Like
15x US stocks. Does this exist at all? Like, is there even like a 100th of a percentage point of the volume happening on crypto rails? No. 0.
there was a protocol that I can't remember from like last DeFi cycle. And it was like, I don't know, it had like a couple mil of like Chinese currency, couple mil of like Canadian dollars. It's just like there wasn't liquidity.
It's a
on
liquidity
anything else.
problem, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't use
I don't think
it
it's a
to-
demand, but yeah, but I don't think it's like I don't know. It's really the regulatory aspect in all these different jurisdictions getting on board, but it seems to me pretty obvious that this is like a slam dunk.
Can you guys let me
at
know if
some
you write a
point.
check into this somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, it is
Yeah.
interesting though. Like, what's the way to
Yeah,
play?
right?
Like,
Like,
what's
fuck.
the way? But it's like, what's the way to invest in this, right? Like,
Hey, if you
It's-
find one, let us know too.
Yeah. Someone said
Yeah.
Daniel said lighter.
no, because it needs to
Interesting.
be spot, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I guess you can do.
You can do spot.
Yeah, you can do synthetic. Actually, that's what the FX swap.
Okay. Well, that's interesting one. Number 3 on here, I have no take on, but I've been seeing it all over my timeline, or I think I know what
Yeah.
this is. So Bitcoin BIP 360 implemented in 2026. Correct me if I'm wrong, and carry me on this. But this is quantum resistant, like soft fork. What is this exactly?
It's a quantum resistant signature scheme, so you could like move your coins to it, and then you're quantum resistant. I think for 2026, this percent chance is way too high. I would not personally like be interested in buying this above like 20% because. But I think that it's the reason why I included it because I think it's like a super interesting market to kind of follow because BIP 360 doesn't solve quantum for Bitcoin. Like there's a lot that needs to go into that and like the question of solving it you can never really solve it anyways, like especially when you talk about Satoshi's coins. But BIP 360 is
fuck.
like BIP 360 is basically like, are the core devs taking it seriously?
Got it.
Right. And so it's like a big signal. I think that this year, like all the quantum talk is it's not going to go away, right?
How seriously are
And-
you taking it? Like, how concerned are you about quantum?
I'm like fairly concerned, but I'm not a doomer. I don't know. There's some good pods on it. Like Gwart had
Go.
this guy.
Oh, I
who
gotta listen
was
to that.
like, he was like against. He was saying how like quantum's not a big deal, right? And then actually today on the Delphi pod, Nick
Yeah.
Carter did like an hour-long thing with Tommy, and Nick has been the one that's kind of brought this up a lot about why quantum is like a big risk. So the thing is, nobody can agree, right? But it's just such a massive. The thing that's just hard with Bitcoin is that the Satoshi coins is not a technical problem; it's a social problem. And so it doesn't really matter if you have the tech. Like the thing is with quantum is to actually move every Bitcoin signature to a quantum one would take like 6 months or something because of Bitcoin's throughput. And then the signatures are like much more expensive too. So those are like the technical issues. But then again, like the social issue is, what do you do with Satoshi's coins? Like you have to decide either the hacker gets them or you burn them all. And so either way, you're kind of like stealing Satoshi's coins. Like it's a greater good, like steal, like the theft, or it's like the hacker gets them, right? And you know, that's inevitable unless quantum never happens. But
I saw this funny tweet about it, and it was like, society's so funny where they think the first person to crack quantum, like Google or one of these massive institutions, the first thing they're gonna do is like hack Satoshi and like sell the Bitcoin. It's like,
That's kind of like my opinion,
yeah,
because I this is so like far over my head with stuff, right? I'm still like reading up all of these reports, listening to all these podcasts, but like that was like the first thing. It's like if you could do whatever, why would you go after Bitcoin for? Like I feel like there's so many other things you would want first.
yeah, you
But
probably just make some god tier AI slop.
yeah, right. Yeah, this feels really high.
but-
There's not much volume. I don't think there's hardly any volume.
No,
on
there's
it.
not enough volume. But one thing I was going to say is, no, actually, what you would do is if you got the quantum computers, you wouldn't go over Satoshi. You would start like slowly draining random people's, because even Binance, you can take all theirs. Anything with a public key that's on chain is quantum hackable. So what you would basically do is you'd start like slow stealing.
then just hope
Like
nobody notices.
individuals, and people like wouldn't believe them. People like individuals would
Yeah,
go to like
yeah.
the cops and stuff and be like, "I got hacked," and like nobody would believe it, right? And so you do that for a while, and then eventually maybe someone else comes up with a quantum computer.
Maybe
at that
I'll
point,
do this
but-
segment at the end of stream chat, but like 3 weeks ago, one Sunday, there's a bunch of people over at my house, and we just sat down and we were just like drinking our coffee, and we had like a 3-hour debate over what you would do, like practically speaking, what you would do if you did acquire the Satoshi keys and what you would do with it. And it's actually a really difficult problem to solve because the second $1 moves from that wallet, it's over. It's disaster. And you're also the most wanted human.
No, I think your life is over.
No, like I was like legitimately speaking, what would you do? I mean, you have to get Trump admin on your side, first of all. Like you need Sailor. You probably figure out how to get in contact with Sailor or Trump. And you can't stack it, and you can't sell $1. And if anyone finds out who you are, where you are, like the Delta Force is coming after you, like the Maduro team is coming after you, like fast. Palantir knows who you are, where you are. It's like, it's actually an insane scenario because there's not that much you can do without like ruining the world. So yeah, maybe we can save this one for later, but it's a fun one. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this quantum market. Okay. What's next? Okay, here's a fun one. Hyperliquid open interest flipped in 2026. Some context here is this is actually a counterparty dune dashboard. Interesting. On OI and then volume dominance decline. So this
It seems pretty high, but like I guess someone could always like.
So I'll give you my take,
So,
and I
yeah.
want you guys
You
to
go first, and I'll give you mine.
I'll give you my
after.
take. I actually think this is really low because I think there's a couple.
The probability is low.
The probability is low, and I think it's relatively likely that it happens because one, it just has to get. There's like 3 things here. One, it just has to get flipped for a second, or like let's see what the actual context.
Yeah, no, that's right.
At any point, what has to get flipped
Yeah.
for 1 second. 2, I think there's just, at least the way things are trending, when we look at some of the data, there's just general OI increase coming like in that up only, right? Equity perps are going to get really popular, are getting increasingly popular. Ideally, if crypto goes up, there's more volume and there's just more people trading leverage. There's a lot of things working in your favor. And then third is you could get Aster incentived, right? Where you some new, like Coinbase drops a perp dex and it has, massive farming incentives for base token. What happens to OI, right? I feel like it explodes. And so I think there's a lot of things that actually work in your favor on this market. And there's honestly no reason why this couldn't happen. I'm not saying it's guaranteed going to happen, but all it takes is like a Coinbase type of player and some general equity perp OI increase for this to like happen with some farming incentives. Like, what do you think?
don't know if I don't know if I buy it at like 30 here or whatever it's at, 30% maybe, right? I do think everything you said is true, right? There's a ton of competition across the perp deck space. I believe current OI share is like 45 to 50% hyperliquid, and then you have like lighter
It's actually
ostium,
more.
right?
It's
You have
like 60%.
60%
Yeah.
OI share.
Lighter is low.
No, I was looking at OI share on a Dune dashboard, and it looks like hyperliquid perps right now have about 50%
Okay.
OI share, and then you have Aster at 17.7,
About right. Yeah.
lighter at 10.7, and then like Edgex and everything else is like mid to low single digits. So interestingly, I think you'll probably know within the next couple months, and when you see
Yeah.
what the TGE activity of these perp dexes look like, and then what the fall off is in trading activity, open interest, stuff like that afterwards, right? Because all of these perp dexes are incentivized currently right now with all of these points programs and things like that. So my thinking is, if they can't get to that point while everything is incentivized, I think the probability is lower after the fact.
Agreed.
Because we've seen a ton of resilience in just hyperliquid over like all metrics, right? Even through this. So I think you'll know within the first couple TGEs of these additional perp dexes whether or not this is likely to happen in 2026 or not. That's the way I'm kind of playing it. At 30%, I'm not as interested. If it drops like 20% or lower, I think it's worth it, like worth a punt as we kind of go into these TGEs and
You
stuff
really
like
need
that.
Coinbase to bail you out
You
here.
need something big, like a really big incentive.
Because
program.
Kraken isn't
like,
doing it, right? The NATO thing is not anywhere.
I'm not aware. I don't think so.
Yeah,
So yeah, like to me, it's like it kind of comes down to like the incentivizing trading activity on your platform, and if all of the perp dexes that are running the current incentivization programs can't do it now, afterwards it seems less likely. At least that's like the way I look at it.
I like that. It's crazy. Even at the top of Aster, it only got to like a third.
Yeah, and that a ton of that is CZ
For a day.
subsidized to an extent, probably, right? So yeah, still
Stuff.
bullish.
I think the way it happens is
market.
actually, I don't think the way it happens is something good comes along. I think something like happens with hyperliquid.
Oh, like a hack or
Like
something.
flip to
Yeah,
the
I mean
downside. That's not a
yeah. Yeah, don't put that out into the universe.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Also, I'm only this dashboard's only tracking like, it's not tracking all the small ones, so yours is probably more accurate on. It just has like the biggest ones.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can send over a couple more links too if you're interested.
But yeah, this is a pretty fun one. That's hyperliquid.
I agree.
Okay, let's see what's next. Okay. Will Pump.fun hit $500 million in buybacks? I've had a lot of takes on Pump.fun yesterday or recently. My most recent Pump.fun take is that, so I look at this all the time. I look at this on stream all the time. The last 3 days, Pump.fun has bought back 1.4, 1.6, and 1.3 million dollars of their token. They're up to a total of 18% of the circulating supply. They spent $237 million purchasing Pump. Just at a baseline here, this number that they are able to buy back daily right now is fucking insane. Like, I gave this take yesterday, and I was like, I was clip farming a little bit, but I'm like, man, Pump.fun might just be the greatest business ever created in like the history of capitalism. Like, in these conditions, with Solana at $130, Alon tweeted for the first time in like 3 months, and meme sentiment. I mean, I don't really know how you could get much worse. You could literally get worse, but it can't get that much worse. It's a complete disaster mess. Anytime you see any clip from a trencher, there's more devs than traders. It is like a complete and utter fucking disaster. And somehow, some way, Pump.fun is still making $1.5 million every single day. And it's disgusting. My take on this market is that they could, should, and probably will, but I really hope they don't. I really hope they don't. Because here we are. Chart's a little messy. Let me delete some stuff. Here we are. Pump.fun is buying $1.5 million a day, basically hyperliquid equivalents. And their token at current price is down 73% from ATH, and I don't really think anyone wants to touch this, to be honest. And so you're basically halfway there. They bought 230. Go ahead.
You only need like 700K a day.
You need 700K a day. Market works in your favor.
500.
I really hope they stop the buybacks, though. I just
So that's I think the reason why this market trades under 50%, that's probably correct, is that you have like 3 specific risks. You have obviously pump business risk. You have the actual if they turn or keep off buyback risk, and you have what percent they do. Because originally they were doing like 25% buybacks, right? And 25% of the revenue. And then they moved it to 100%. But like, you don't know how long. There's no reason why they need to keep buying back 100% of the revenue every day, right? So there's like a lot of those kind of external factors that go into it. So we'll see. It has been impressive though. I mean, I don't really, sometimes I'm like skeptical that they're able to keep making this much, but then sometimes I'll have like some tweet and some guy will drop like a CA under it, and I'll go look and someone's like traded some shit coin off of my tweet. And it's like, I guess people are still doing this. Like,
it's like once a week on stream we discuss, maybe once a month we discuss, are these numbers real? Because they're so ridiculous, it's almost hard to believe it. But at a certain point here, it's like the Pump.fun obviously has a legitimate mode at this stage. I think, I mean, there's been quite a few launch pads that have come through with crazy incentives and they've just lost, right? Bonk lost famously. And at a certain point, it's like, man, the product has not meaningfully improved at all in like, I don't know, a year plus. The streaming thing, if not over, didn't go great, and they've completely kind of stopped focusing on it, and the streaming technology platform itself is awful. It's like, at a certain point, are they just going to waste another $250 million buying back this token when they could just stop, save the money, continue to make the money, make the product better, and just let it go lower, maybe buy back at lower prices? I mean, I guess the RR here isn't bad. The Jordy Alexander had an interesting tweet on this. The RR here isn't bad, but it just, I don't know, I feel like they're just burning their treasury. I mean, Jason, do you have a take on this?
I mean, I think that's kind of, I think you're kind of nailing the reason like why it trades at the val it does. Like, it's effectively trading at like the same val of like cash it raised, right? Like it's
crazy.
And to your, like, you made the comparison to Hyperliquid, right? You know, with the same amount of buybacks, roughly, you see a complete difference. I mean, granted, from 1010 to now, everything's kind of like correlated to the most part to the downside, but like,
Of course,
if you like excuse that, you know, period, after that, like you look at like the impact of buybacks on, you know, val and multiples, and it's very clear the market values Hyperliquid's cash flows and buybacks and revenue a lot higher than it values Pump. And a lot of it's probably for the reasons you're talking about. It's not clear what the comms are. It's not clear what the plan is with streaming or with anything, what the use of their cash is going to be. Like, is buybacks even the best, you know, use of their money and revenues at this point, right? Like, it's all of these questions are exactly the reason why Pump trades the way it trades. And
I mean, I also think the fact that they haven't tweeted, like Alan's first tweet was today in like 3 months.
The bar is so low that any comms is.
He tweeted and it added like 300, 400 mil to the market.
Here's a decent comparison for you. Is talked about this on stream yesterday. Rumble. You guys are familiar with Rumble?
Yeah, of course.
It's like the alt-right streaming platform. It they, with partnership with Tether, I don't know if you saw this, like launched some crypto wallet, and you could tip in Bitcoin and Tether and things like this. And so I was looking at Rumble, and I'm like, oh, maybe this is an interesting trade here. Rumble is like a $2.5 billion company. Pump.fun is the same market cap, FTV, and Pump.fun makes like 3.5x the revenue annualized. Like,
well, this also goes back to the equity token thing, right?
Yeah,
like Pump
they make way more money than Rumble, way more. And Rumble is like a tough business to invest in, right? It's like they have like fill a very weird niche. What the growth plan is from them, I'm not entirely sure, but Pump.fun makes way more fucking money. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly like, the no comms, to Cedric's point, like, it trades at a discount because of all of these things that we've talked about, and despite that, it's still, like, to your point, has an incredible like moat with respect to coin launches. Obviously, things like you've seen projects like MetaDAO and stuff pop up that are like trying to kind of unfuck the token issue, and token launchpad type deal. So I don't know, this market, like, I think they will.
Yeah.
I think they will buy back 500 mil this year. Like,
I hope they don't. I mean, I do. I hope they don't.
I
but
just
they probably will.
the big one for me would be not really. It would be if they decide to lower the percentage of buybacks to focus on potentially investing more in, say, like their streaming thing, the infrastructure around it to relaunch that, or do something like that. I think that's like the only risk of this happening. Otherwise, I think it continues.
You guys made this market. This is actually a fun one. I like this. It's also sick how this Polymarket like links to your Twitter is cool. So that's Pump.fun. By the way, I agree with you on the equity token thing. Maybe we could talk about it more near the end. I actually really like MetaDAO, and I'm happy that MetaDAO exists, but I don't think that MetaDAO is the solution. But I'm happy it
You would
exists.
fit right into our research calls. We have arguments about it all the time.
I just don't. I think no serious. I basically, my rationale is that I wouldn't launch my token on MetaDAO, so I don't know why any.
Quick question. What, like, if you had like your business, right? Say you wanted to launch like threadguy LLC,
Yeah.
through MetaDAO, why wouldn't you? Like,
Because
would you raise through VCs instead?
I don't
And if so,
entirely
why?
know, but I would not want to. I mean, it's like my company, and I want to be in full control of what happens with tokens.
This comes up that comes up all the time as a reason.
Yeah,
That's-
they have turned down the amount. Like, basically, the decision markets right now are only used for the monthly budgeting, but then the founders get full control over everything. So it's not like how it kind of the original idea of Futarchy was, where like you literally go to the market for everything. So you do get a lot more control than you had in like previous iterations. But yeah, I do get that. I mean, you have like a liquid token with with bag holders.
It's a little too nerd snipey, but I think it's important that it exists, and I think Profit's a really smart guy, and I think it's like better than nothing. Like, it's putting us in the right direction generally here.
Fully agree. Yeah,
it's a little nerd snipey though,
definitely.
right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a little like it's right up liquid fund analysts.
But it's less nerd snipey these days with what they're doing with the ICO stuff. It's more straightforward, like we're unfucking tokens and launching them through.
So you have a lot.
I'm
I
a
don't have
community
any.
member. I'm a community member. I'm in the
Okay.
community.
I have no MetaDAO.
I like that
should.
you
Just
like
ring-
it. By the way, I like that you like it. Like I
have. It's one of my favorite, like, just protocols in general, because I think at the end of the day, like, what is the point of crypto? It's this crowdfunding platform essentially where you can get people from around the world creating internet companies basically. And for so many years, it's like the tokens attached to these internet companies have been complete dog shit because they're not used for anything. They're not entitled to anything. They don't own anything, right? And like, that's the big thing that needs to fix in crypto market structure is like, we should want to, like, having people from around the world come together to create companies on the internet and create revenue and give that revenue back to people is something that we shouldn't be like afraid to try and do, right? Like, it's something that we need to fix. And I mean, Gabe, who's like ex-lawyer, he does MetaLex. His whole thing is like, you need to basically reform securities laws. You need to get like securities laws reform pilled on this. But
have you heard of SOAR? SOAR?
Yeah, that's another one that.
What do you think of that?
I haven't done enough on that one, but I have somebody looking into that.
I
think we
look into that and tell me what you think offline, because I was complaining about this on stream the other day. We were talking about this exact problem, and they were in the chat, and they were like, "Do I gotta get on a call?" And so we had like a team call, and it was like interesting. They're in. Do some research on it and tell me what you think about that one. It's an interesting one.
For sure.
Yeah, I think they were in my replies too.
Yeah, they're like, they're trying.
I haven't looked at. I mean, hey, that's like the way.
Yeah, they're
do it.
trying.
You gotta try, right?
Not an investor, by the way, but just trying to fucking buy some fucking tokens that go up. So, all right. This is a Delphi one as well. So, will crypto payment cards volume hit 1.5 billion by March 31st.
Yeah.
I have no context on this one, but I wrote this down. I feel like I could do $250,000 of volume myself. I still have for some reason, I still have this credit card with like a $6,000 limit on it. I use my debit card for everything. And I feel like I could do $500,000 of volume myself. So what is the current state of where we are with this?
Yeah, this one's pretty unlikely to hit in Q1. I think it's like 730 mil is the cumulative spend so far. Now in December, there was like 120 mil. It's been going up a lot. If you actually if you go to the context on that Polymarket, they have a link in the rules section that sends you to the site in the rules section.
Where
If
am
you
I?
do show
Oh,
more
show more
there.
right here.
Yeah,
there you
there.
go.
So you can see like it started to
Oh,
like
yeah, hell
spike a decent amount, but like basically you need that 735 number at the top to get to 1.5. You would need some pretty insane growth over this Q1 here, but it's just like this is again just like another area to watch in the market. Like payment cards are this new thing. I
Wow,
think
the
that
growth of this is nuts.
yeah.
I mean, it was doing
And there's, like-
February 23 total $230. Is that right? March 23 500K. Yeah, this is pretty actually impressive growth here.
The only thing with this one is that one of the tough things, I guess, doing this, I've kind of like making prediction markets for the first time. You kind of realize that like a good prediction market also needs a really good way to measure it, right?
Yes,
And one of the
yes,
problems
yes.
one of the problems with the payment cards is that data sources don't always have all of them, and sometimes they're like hard to get. And so I guess the wild card in this market is if like that data source added like some other cards that it wasn't tracking before, and then it went up. Which would
This
be
is the
kinda like
fun
a
one, though.
weird way.
This is the fun one to follow. I like this. Good market. Jason, what do you
Yeah,
think?
it's a new one for me too. But I don't know.
It feels like no
1.5
way,
by
for being
Q1.
honest. It feels like no way, but
Hmm.
I do like
Yeah,
it
maybe if this was 1.5, we should have probably done this 1.5 by mid-year.
by mid-year.
And
Yeah, yeah.
that would have been a lot closer. Because if you're doing like, if December did 120 and you
Yeah.
need about 750 to go, then that's pretty much right on it for like half a year, right? But it's definitely an area that has been seeing some pretty explosive growth recently.
Someone
and
said,
obviously-
Sybil it, hit the target, charge back everything. Yeah, this is a good one. I like this. Okay.
yeah, just to buy Greenland on a credit card.
Okay, here's a fun one. This is one of ours.
Ooh.
Ethereum flipped in 2026, and so a quick context on this is CoinGecko. This is an interesting one. So Ethereum flipped 2026. Good amount of volume on this actually. So this is kind of the line. At 20%, you're basically betting on Tether.
Tether. Yeah.
Tether in a bear market.
Tether in a bear market or Tether explosion. I think there's you could maybe parlay this with the stablecoin market cap. But Tether is basically like half right now. ETH's trading at 3K. I think the number on this is like correct, 20%. I'm not sure what the implications are if this does happen. Like, what does the market look like if this does resolve to yes? ETH getting flipped, but it's basically going to be Tether. Nothing else can really do it.
I mean, if a stablecoin flips like ETH, like I don't think it's like that big of a deal. It's probably just more indicative of the market being down than anything.
Yeah.
I think if another coin flips ETH is way.
I mean,
way
the
more
bear case
important.
is that these things are all just overvalued, and so stablecoins end up flipping all the multiple stablecoins end up flipping ETH
yeah,
over
right.
the next couple of years.
Tempo maybe comes and fucking flips it.
Yeah.
I don't think another coin.
I don't
is
think
really-
another token,
XR
especially
Not this year.
Uh,
Not this year.
yeah.
But
by
maybe
2030. I think
by
there's
2030,
a
you had
good
this market.
possibility.
By 2030 is
Yeah.
a fun one.
If you had a non-stable coin by 2030, I think I'd buy the yes. It depends what it's priced at, but
Okay, here's a good
Yeah, if it
question.
was like 20% chance in 2030 for a non-stable coin to
Oh,
flip ETH,
yeah,
that would be
100%.
a bet for sure.
Here's a good one. The Santiago thesis. Like, ask about the monetary premium. Like, if Ethereum loses to Tether, does that mean L1s lose monetary premium and need to reprice? to the downside?
The
Do L1s.
ETH is a really hard asset for me to like reason about, to be honest. It has
Super
been
hard.
for like a few years now. Because yeah, you need that monetary premium to stick.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you got to do a lot of believing
You yeah, you do.
to get to like the
do a lot of
wild
believing, yeah.
It's like the wild price targets that people throw for ETH. Like you really, like you can't be an atheist. Like you really gotta believe pretty hard on that one. And maybe it happens. Like I think that there is upside risk with ETH in that it does become this like massive monetary asset. Um, the thing is, like my opinion on it, if ETH is money is irrelevant. Your opinion on if ETH is money is irrelevant,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of
It's
course.
like, does it kind of just like
Happen.
happen,
Yeah.
right? And so everybody wants to be money because the upside's so big, right?
Of course. I like
But
that
it's
do a lot of
like-
believing. No one's an atheist when you tweet ETH to 10K. No liquid token here is gonna do it. Yeah, this year I agree. XRP's 3x off, BNB's way off, Solana's way off. Nothing else even has a chance. This is a fun one though. I like that has some volume too. So that's ETH. Okay, this one I like as well. Well, the coin launched in 2026, end the year in the top 50, 20, 10, or 5.
And this is
So-
by circulating market cap.
By, I believe, FDV. Let me get the coin gecko up.
I mean that changes things a lot if it's right, because
Wait, let me actually double check on this. I think it's FDV. By market capitalization. Yeah, I think FDV. Let's see, let me double check in the chat. But I believe it's FDV. And so going through CoinGecko tokens from last year, we have like the last couple years, I guess. We have Hyperliquid's 31, which is kind of like daunting, right? Hyperliquid's not even in the top 20. Hyperliquid's 31. And so this being at 42 feels high. Honestly, feels high.
yeah, I mean
Hyperliquid's
top
42
10 on a new launch. What's even new coming out?
Hyperliquid's 42 or
Tempo is the one that you would say maybe.
31, and then what even Athena, which launched when 61. Athena was
But these
2020.
rankings are these fully diluted rankings or
So we're saying no, just market. We're saying just market cap.
yeah. The thing is, if it's just circulating, this becomes even harder because you have so much of the supply on the new launch that's not even on market, right?
Actually, yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. Actually, what are nuances on this?
Because I mean, like think
So we're
about like
saying
iGaming
Cirque.
that launched a few years ago.
We're saying Cirque. We're
and-
saying Cirque.
yeah,
which
if
makes
it's
it really
circulating,
tough.
really hard. Even top 50 is really hard. Like Hyperliquid, you said is what 31.
31.
31.
Aster is 66. Pump.fun is 77.
So yeah, top 50 is
And-
definitely doable.
Let's see, where's Lighter? Is there anything else interesting here? Lighter's 120. Virtual.
So nothing is top
121.
20. So it's
Nothing is
pretty
top
much
20.
Only Hyperliquid at top 50,
Hyperliquid.
and then everything outside.
Yeah. This feels, by the way, there's not a lot of volume on this. 95% top 50 is
I would buy no
high.
on that. So hard if you're getting a 20x return.
I really do hope there's another market after this that's relatively related. I'm very optimistic about the good new coin acceleration effect. And I really just like I've always just thought to myself, Hyperliquid makes $1 million+ a day. Pump.fun makes $1 million+ a day. The upside to building a successful finance trading platform, finance app in crypto is basically $1 million a day in perpetuity until somebody dethrones you. Axia still makes $1 million a day. Photon made $1 million a day up to like 500 mil. The upside on it is so high that I'm shocked. It feels like we haven't had this talent influx that I feel a lot of people have been predicting, this app cycle that everyone's been predicting from 24, 25 on. But I really feel like crypto gets to the spot where it's like a barbell between memes and like ideology tokens. I hate to put like Bitcoin and Dogecoin in the same category, but like no fundamentals and then serious business coins. The lighters, the hyperliquids, the pump funds, the Athenas of the world. And if we can figure out this token equity problem, that feels like the barbell. And we desperately need a reshuffling of the top 100. Like, I don't know what you guys think, but I would like to see some reshuffling here, even though top 20 feels really hard.
We definitely need reshuffling.
Dude, there's so many coins in the top 10, top 20 that were there when I joined crypto in 2017 that are just like complete dog
garbage,
shit.
Just
right?
garbage,
Like,
man.
just absolute useless. And they all command multi-billion-dollar market. It's just like,
this is why indexing in crypto and being
Doesn't
passive
work,
in crypto is so hard. If you're going to be passive, it's like you need to own just Bitcoin. And I mean, you can own some ETH and Sol now too. You got the ETFs and everything, but it's like everyone's always wanted to create it. Like once we get a good index, it'll actually bring so much more money in because 95% of investors want to just index and like not think about anything, right?
You know, I think we're accelerating to this point. I don't know if it's just because the market is down or because we've matured or one accelerates the other or both. But new launches, like bad new coins, are really getting punished, and it's getting difficult to justify these large valuations. I think the Infinex one is like a, not to like call them out as a bad new coin, but the market is just like extremely selective right now over what gets bid, and the only things that are making like the megaphone coverage of the whole timeline is talking about it are things like Lighter, which are really good apps. Like, there's like really like supreme pristine type of platforms, and gone are the days of garbage at many billions. Again, partly a market problem, but it feels like the participants that are still here are smart, and you can make $1 million a day, but you have to be the fucking best of the best.
Yeah, like the important part there is that there still are good opportunities, and there are going to be very good opportunities, right? It's just it's harder.
It's harder.
And people are way more skeptical, and that is signs of not an unhealthy market. Like that is signs of
it's a
very
maturing
healthy
market.
and maturing market, right? And so, yeah, a lot of stuff is down bad, but that doesn't mean that the market is actually unhealthy per se. It's that the market participants are getting smarter, and the marginal buyers are getting smarter. Like we talk about ETH going to or Sol going to some certain numbers, right? CT's opinion on like ETH these days is totally irrelevant, right? Because they're not the marginal pricer anymore.
Agreed.
Right? Like the ETH maxis, the podcasters, the Sol maxis, like
Say Bankless.
none of these people are like the marginal pricer, right? It's just such a big market cap, and like I think that is what has been so new to crypto over the last few years is that it used to be all priced by retail. And even the funds were essentially just like retail that got rich and then had funds, but they were still just retail. Whereas now you just have at the margin much different. And you know, you'll still have the low cap stuff that's not as liquid that smarter investors aren't in those markets and pricing that, you know, if you're like a new guy starting out, you have like a few $1,000 or something. There's still tons of alpha that will always be in this market on those smaller areas, right? Because you're just not competing again. It's like if you're trying to pick like last year, at the end of last year, I was like, you know what? I think Sol will flip ETH one day, but I actually am not going to try and do anything about this ratio anymore because it's just like gotten these assets are too big now that there's like I don't know how much alpha I can generate out of there.
100%.
Whereas you start paying more attention to the smaller things where you're playing against basically you want to play against CT. You don't want to
play against the dumbest people possible, right?
Yeah.
So like
game selection.
exactly. Like if you're gonna play poker, you don't want to go play with the professionals. You want to play with the, you know, your dumb high school friends who are drunk, right? Like you don't want to sit at the most competitive table, which is what the majors and, you know, what perp trading is for the most part, right? You just don't want to be involved in the most competitive. Like, for example, if you had to play a basketball game and like the thing you're like if you lose, you die. Like you're not gonna pick LeBron. You're gonna pick the kid in the wheelchair. Like you want
two excerpts on this
competition
is I was just telling the story the other day about like going to LA, playing pickup basketball at LA Fitness, and it's like if you were like a casual hooper and you don't play that much and you want to go have fun, you want to go play against the fat guys at LA Fitness. And trading AI coins on Solana in like December 2024 is you were walking the court and there was 5 fat guys. Okay? Playing the game right now, you're walking onto the court and you're getting picked up 94 feet by Kawhi Leonard and like prime Avery Bradley. And it's like
prime AI or something.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't mean you're like a bad basketball player, but it means you're literally in the most competitive like Hall of Fame game of all time. And one example is it's one of the reasons I think crypto just perseveres regardless of market conditions is, I mean, we're not as bad as you could get right now, but it's definitely pretty dim. And there's this white whale token, which is made 250 SOL at 5 mil fully exit. A little bit of a sensitive topic here for me. But this white whale token, which is genuinely one of the craziest charts I've seen in a long time. There's this P&L card on the FOMO app. This guy Remus invested $337, and his P&L right now, as we sit here, is 996,000 United States dollars.
Let's go Remus.
From 337. And it doesn't matter what happens to crypto. There's no other market in the world where you could turn 337 into a mil in 3 weeks. You can't do it in options. Yeah. You're not doing it on S&P. You're not doing it on high growth tech stocks. That's a crypto only phenomenon. You're not doing it on silver. It's like 3 figures to 7 in 3 weeks is not possible anywhere else. And I think that's why the person with a couple $1,000s will continue to end up in crypto, because stories like that exist. So fun story there. Okay, so we just did will a singular coin launch in 2026 end the year in the top 10, and then there's a follow-up that's kind of similar, which is how many coins launched in the top in 2026 end up in the top 100. And so the price to beat is
about a bill, right?
Basically $1 billion.
How many coins?
These are tough markets. Like these are legitimately.
It's tough because I'm trying to think like what are the high
big
profile
launches
things launching? There's Mega ETH, right?
Mega ETH.
Paradex would be one that could maybe rival there.
You get Mega ETH, you get Tempo. You maybe get a base token, maybe.
Yeah. That's 4 right there.
Poly's been teased.
True. 4 seems like it should trade above 50, and it does.
6 is really tough. 6 is tough.
I think it'll probably come down to a couple of the perp dex launches too.
NATO
how
thing
many
maybe
will end the year. So like that's a big one too, right? Like
that is important.
Ending
nuance.
I think at some point throughout in the year you might have 5, 6, 7, 8, but ending the year might be difficult.
Well, I think that you're also just going to have a lot of those top 100 right now that just continue to just grind lower too, and that'll help.
You also do have that working for you, I guess, as well.
It's
a tough market.
Kraken token is live yet or no? The Ink?
I don't know. I don't think so.
That could make it. I don't know how, but it could.
I mean, they could all like a base token, an Ink token, right? Whatever. They could like have vals, but like I don't think those are probably gonna be like good trades. I think like they'll probably be used like we wrote about this in our year ahead. They'll probably be used more as like customer acquisition coins, kind of like WorldCoin, right? Where you just like pay for users by issuing World. So you have like a chart where like world price goes down, users goes up, and market cap is like pretty stable, right? Because you're paying for users via tokens. And like at some point, right, like the marginal like user, like a new marginal user is probably more valuable to like base than like $1 on their balance sheet, you know, right? So from those, like I think those could probably definitely be over $1 billion, but like are those tokens I'm looking to buy and hold next year? Probably not. No. Obviously, it depends on
good
trades, tokenomics. Exactly. Yeah.
I like 4. There's not much volume on this, so they're not super accurate yet. We'll see what happens when it gets some volume. But over 4, I like everything else feels brutal, just brutal.
Yeah, very hard.
It's crazy too because threshold at $1 billion is like market conditions matter a lot. Threshold being $1 billion is crazy. Like WIF, ATH is like 4. Go is like 1.5. AI16Z is over 1. Like you could have done it on meme coin season. If this was 2024, you would have ended it with Solana meme coins alone. Would have beat this market.
Yeah, more than 10.
More than 10. It's disgusting. Cerebro was close. Now, granted,
I mean, I'd say
the
so.
The Rebro.
entry would have been higher probably, right? I don't know what the entry would have been higher than a
No.
billion probably too, because everything was up. But
Goat was crazy, man. I was so bullish on Goat.
it's
I
my
can't
favorite
believe
token of all
like
time. And
how much we all loved that Twitter account. It was
like,
the worst Twitter account.
did
It
I
was, like, the
lose
worst
almost 7
shit.
figures on Goat? Yes. Do I regret it? No. One of my favorite tokens. It's one of the. Okay, really quick. I will just say that from an on-chain perspective, taking into account conditions, macro, wind tails, where we were in AI development, taking everything into account, I think GOAT was the single greatest narrative that has ever appeared in the history of on-chain tokens. And I say that and I stand on that. I don't think for the time and place, given the circumstances, you could have sat at your desk with a journal and a pen and written a better narrative than that. I don't think you could have. I genuinely do not think you could have done it.
I mean, the time was right with everything for that one.
I mean, I'm salty, dude. Like, Anil sent that in our group chat at, like, I don't know, the first day it launched at, like, sub 10 mil. I was, like, at my parents' house. I didn't see it. Come back the next day. It's, like, 100 mil. I was just, like, faded the whole time. So it's painful for me, too, because I completely missed it. And just faded.
Yeah, we shouldn't lose $1 million on it, but it's a great token. I love Goat. Okay, let's see what next. We got like a couple more here. Okay. Record crypto. It's kind of a brutal one. Record crypto liquidation in 2026. Tulip King, I think we're missing the. I want the rules, like what we're looking at for a data source here.
Like how much it is.
I think this CoinGlass. Yeah. Okay. Never really used this, to be honest. Yeah, 1010 is the record. Wow, 1010 is the record by a lot, by the way.
Yeah.
1010 is the record.
Honestly, for me, I'm a no on this one. Unless there's I'm a no on this, to be honest.
The thesis for yes on this is kind of similar to the Hyperliquid one, which is that like general OI explosion, depending on how big equity perps get. And we're sort of nearing, like, okay, I think some of this stuff is going to take a while, but Trove ICO just happened, which I think is, I'm not the biggest fan of the actual token, but I think the concept is cool. And we're going to be able to, parlay Labubu perps into Charizard perpetuals, which is insane. And at some point here, I don't know if it's yet, but over the next couple years, I've seen a couple tweets about this, and it's basically like you are going to see Black Swan and price drops that you didn't think were mathematically possible. And we're definitely like getting closer to that. And so you could probably bet no on this, but betting yes is like not the most fun. I guess it could happen to the upside too. But I do think we're trending towards general OI explosion, especially with equity perps.
So yeah, I do think that's like the main counterpoint to
that's
like
your driver,
being no is like if OI, if overall open interest on, you could even just say like Bitcoin or in general overall open interest increases a pretty decent amount, right? Like a normal liquidation of sorts would put it as like a top record crypto liquidation. So like that that definitely makes sense. The reason I say no is because I don't think 2026 we're going to get that huge explosion in OI. I think maybe it's like a 27, 28 type phenomenon. And then, 1010 was just such a, it's like the first like ADL that we've had in a few years. Like I think the most recent one before that was it 22, I believe, in the bear market there. Maybe even before that. But like the point I'm making is like 1010's liquidation cascade was very, very, very much like not a typical liquidation cascade, right? Like, Bitcoin went down, roughly what it goes down in other liquidation cascades, but how everything else broke and how you had traders who don't usually get liquidated because of ADL, right? Everybody who's on any sort of leverage got wrecked, even though like generally if you're like on low leverage, you're usually fine, especially on like Bitcoin. So I just think like the anomaly that 1010 is going to be quite difficult to break or to beat in 26. I don't even think we're going to get back to BTC all-time high open interest until the end of the year, like back half of the year. So that's
I think
my
it's fair take.
my take on it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't bet no at 20%. Like I don't think it,
RR
it is a good
sucks.
bet, but I'm a no on how the market will probably resolve. Or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Yes, at
I like that.
20%.
Hopefully it's to the upside if it happens.
Yeah, please. Please.
Okay, here's
We're
a fun
due
one.
for a win.
Here's a fun one. Resolution sources here. How much will be wagered on US sports betting in 2026?
Are you a big sports bettor?
I'm not. I'm actually not at all,
Me neither.
but
I don't really watch sports that much.
I want to do.
Same. It's just the reason why I don't is because it
I
was
would
like
gamble.
interesting. DFS was like kind of interesting back in the day when the rakes were lower and the people playing were not as sharp. But like now the rakes on those are so high, and then like traditional gambling is just the math. Like you literally cannot win consistently.
I'm gonna ask it. Can you calculate the year over year? Is it volume? Year. Yeah, I don't sports bet at all. Oh wait, it's right here. Let's see. I'll let Claude do it. Yeah, I'll let Claude do it. I don't sports bet at all, but so we wanted to do some markets of. Oh yeah, also we have the World Cup actually. Is that this year?
Oh shit! Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's a huge one. That's a massive one.
Whoa, dude! I've never been on the
Sick.
World
Yeah.
Cup. The World Cup is this year is crazy.
No, go to New York or come to New York
Wow.
for it.
Yeah, I wanted to do some semblance of markets that were like long degeneracy. And
Pretty
so,
safe bet.
yeah, this is kind of a fun one. I probably won't be betting on this just because sports. I don't sports bet at all. College football a little bit, playoffs and championships and whatnot. But yeah, the World Cup is actually an interesting one. We're set up for a good year this year. Honestly, we are. We're due for a good year. Oh, I actually didn't know this was right here. Let me see. 2025 was 140 billion, excluding December. 2024 was 150, and then 2023 was 121. So, yeah, I mean, maybe decent odds for 200 plus, but I'm not the most knowledgeable on that one. I think we have, we have two more here. Altcoin market cap dip to 150 billion before 2027. I'll pull the chart up. This one for me is a hard no.
This must be not including Ethereum.
Yeah, I guess not including CryptoCap others. Let's see. CryptoCap others.
Like
I believe others is X.
I think others is no, excluding top 10.
Okay.
Yeah, excluding top 10.
Okay.
So
250
no.
what's that today? That's not that big of a
BTC,
drawdown.
ETH, Tether, XRP, BNB, Sol, USDC, Tron. The reason I say hard no on this is 1010 Wick was 157. I watched my Pump.fun bag go down 85% in a 15-minute candle on this. Hype went from like 40s to 20s. Basically everything got cut in half instantly. Minimum. And so, I mean, look, we could get wiped here, but I tend to lean pretty bullish for what's going to happen in 2026. And I think it would be pretty ugly if this got lost.
I think it could, just due to the amount of I think it could dip there. I don't think it'll end there. I think it'll end much higher than there. There's just a ton of unlocks and stuff coming that I don't know how much of a bid there will be to soak it up. So I think
but the unlocks also add to market cap.
Also true.
Right? It's like that's actually funny. We are pretty low head and shoulders here.
It's not that big of a drawdown, man. 216 to 150, right?
Yeah, what, 25-30%?
Basically 30.
I think the way it's priced seems kind of fair to me. It's not like I wouldn't want to bet on this market unless I was getting a lot better odds.
Yeah, the odds aren't
Also,
great on this.
I don't like to bet. It's like when you're betting sports and you bet the under. Nobody wants to bet the under. You know, I don't want to
Yeah,
bet on altcoin scoring
100%. It's like, why
150.
would you cheer for a bad game?
Yeah.
This isn't our market, but I thought it was an interesting one.
I mean, quickly going back to your sports betting one, I just looked up what World Cup years tend to do to the normal global sports betting, and World Cup years see huge surges in global sports betting, anywhere from 40 to 150 billion dollar adding.
Whoa, that's a
Yeah,
Bro,
crazy.
it
that
depends.
200 bill then seems kind of
That
like a
200
slam
seems
dunk,
like
to
a
be
fucking
honest.
snipe. Yeah.
And especially
It's
given how many people like there are more people sports betting today than ever before,
World
right?
Cup is
So you have
was
a
the last
World
4 years
Cup.
ago.
Yeah, it's every 4 years.
Yeah, this feels
So
like a
you have
snipe right here. I'm not gonna lie. It's not that much
it could
volume
be
at
an
all.
interesting one.
That's
I
actually
would
really
imagine there's a ton. I don't know how much of that is like license and if that would count towards this, right? Is this sports betting license sports bet or just overall? Like what's the source for the resolution?
It's just legal
Legal.
sports
So, okay.
report. This was
You know,
actually
So I mean,
if I was a new guy
it's
coming,
interesting.
I was just thinking about this looking at this here. Like, if I was somebody new coming to crypto today and I'd only had like $1,000 or whatever, I would actually take a long look at all these prediction markets because the liquidity on these, on a lot of them, are like very bad, and that means you can actually get like pretty good pricing if you're only putting
get good
down like
fills.
50,
Yeah,
50
yeah,
to
yeah,
like
yeah.
50. You know what I mean? So there's actually probably a lot of decent, like consistent wins,
I've
right?
seen a
Just to like,
few accounts highlighted. The issue with that is once you actually develop like an edge on Polymarket, how long until people start seeing your wallet and then, your edge decays. So like you probably have to swap wallets relatively quickly if you like develop a decent system that's,
yeah.
profitable. But it's really cool. I've seen some really interesting strategies that people are employing on Polymarket.
I agree with
It's
you on
fascinating.
the small, like if you have a really small port.
Yeah, it's kind of like running up like NFTs back in the
Yeah,
day, right?
yeah.
Like the whitelist grinding.
Illiquid shit. Like you get
Yeah.
some good fills. Also, yeah,
People are
legal.
people are building like leverage for these prediction markets. It's like, dude, like
You
we
don't
don't have enough liquidity to make leverage
Well, I
on
mean, it's
these
kind of the
things.
same as perps on like Birkin bags. It's like I don't know how that's gonna work.
Yeah.
You know, it's like fuck, man.
Uh,
Some of these
I'm good
markets
losing
though,
money
like
on
leverage
Pump.
on elections and whatnot, is a good product.
Yeah, that makes
Leverage on the World Cup. I think the last one I have here is we just did altcoin dip.
Bitcoin dominance,
Bitcoin
70%. That
dominance,
seems
yeah,
pretty high.
seems really high.
I think that the quantum stuff legitimately will act as a bit of a headwind on Bitcoin. Not that Bitcoin won't do well, just that it won't completely the dominance, like it more impactful on dominance than nominal Bitcoin price, I guess I would say, is that people will still be kind of worried about that,
Yeah, yeah.
and so other coins will still garner market cap, like simply because of that too, right?
This
I
feels
actually
difficult.
don't think it's as unlikely as you guys might. I do think there are some. I think 26 is an interesting year from a like a regulatory standpoint, SEC standpoint, Fed chair standpoint.
Yep.
I think with Trump doing everything Trump's doing, I wouldn't be surprised to see, him start talking about SBR stuff again at some point. I do think there's a lot of upside surprise that could really get a bid, just like resparking a bid in Bitcoin. That
Yeah,
bid wouldn't flow through to
that
everything
doesn't
else,
flow through.
which then would, make it a lot easier for BTC Dom to climb past I think the recent top was like 65% or something.
My fault.
Something like that.
66 and some change, yeah.
So I do think it's actually like I don't think it's as unlikely or like as far out as some people think. I think it's
Yeah.
like one or two good weeks of high level stuff away, like announcements and stuff away from a bid kind of
I
coming
mean, I feel
back.
like TradFi is set up for BTC dominance explosion with flows that do not come down to on-chain,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
It's a good market. I think this is an interesting one. I don't think it's as like I think it's a lot closer to like a coin flip than not.
Yeah, and those are all the markets I had. I had a couple. I'm gonna go through some of these later, some other people's. I've got I tr- I try to get them to do a market for Sophie Rain's OnlyFans earnings. I wanted to short it. Um, a market for meme coin total market cap, a little bit of a weird one, and then we wanted under like long degeneracy. We were talking about a market for gambling company market caps like DraftKings, FanDuel, things like this. This is a short OF in my opinion, but these are crypto markets. What what do you guys think? It's pretty fun. Honestly, it's pretty fun. I like going through these.
No, this was a lot of fun. I hope we continue doing this like every year when we do our year ahead reports. It's really fun.
Yeah, I think too, we want to think about how we get, like, we embedded some of these prediction markets in our year ahead reports.
Huh?
And I think it's something that, like, I don't know, it'd be interesting to like start to do this more. Because like being able to like actually curate like the right market and the right things to look at is actually pretty important. Even if you necessarily don't have an
100%.
exact opinion on like
100%,
where it's
100%.
going, just being like, what should we actually like what's a metric that is actually pretty useful here to track, right? So yeah, it's cool.
What before you guys leave, and by the way, thank you for coming on. You guys are you're really sharp. I like the markets you put together. I guess for each of you, like, can you give me, I don't know, maybe like a hot take and then general prediction of how you think 2026 is gonna play out, where the opportunity is gonna be to make money, like, I don't know, like a hot take and like an outlook.
Yeah, okay. I guess it might not be like a super hot take, but I think 2026 is I think Hyperliquid will probably come away from 2026 as like the undisputed like #1 perp dex. I think there's a lot
Coldest
of
take of all time.
competition right now, and I think it emerged. It's not even like a super hot take, but like
Coldest
I think,
take ever.
yeah, right. But I don't know, like I see like a ton of like Lighter's a really good product.
Yeah.
Like I can't say it's not. Like Ostium is, it's kind of interesting. I do think they have avenues to, dethrone or at least like be on par with it. But as like a super active trader, like I don't know, like it's how I'm allocated too, right? I haven't sold any since TGE. I've only bought, and it's like easily my long-term bag for crypto outside of Bitcoin. And then like how I think the year ends, like it's going to be, I think Ceteris kind of alluded to it, like in terms of like dispersion of returns, I think it's going to be a lot like 2025. I don't think you can passively allocate. I don't think everything is going to do well. I think only the things that have structural reasons to own them will do well. So that's why I think like you want to coalesce around and there aren't that many of these types of projects in crypto. It's pretty easy to, go through the CoinGecko market cap list and make a list of these tokens that are like structurally important, have a reason to exist, and why their tokens should exist. Seems pretty interesting. But again, maybe a hotter take is I think a MetaDAO project like Avicii or something will flip MetaDAO within the next 6 months.
I like
terms of,
that.
like, market
I like
cap.
that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
That's
like
bullish. That's bullish for MetaDAO too.
And one of the reasons I didn't buy
Yeah,
it.
it is. Yeah, so like, yeah, here's my cold take and my better take.
Okay, I like it. Second.
What was the second question again?
I was gonna pass it on. My fault.
Oh, Ceteris. Yeah, go for it.
I think that I think that Solana has like a big year in 2026.
I fucking hope.
I feel like it's kind of fallen
Fucking
out of
need it.
favor a little bit. I think that MetaDAO is MetaDAO is like my highest conviction trade for like 2026. I just think the risk reward there is just like really good for what I think they're going to do. I think that Solana is going to take some perp market share for like the first time. I think that Bulk, which disclosure investor in, but it is like a really cool and unique design that is kind of like unlike perpdexes we've seen so far, and Solana is just dying for perpdex volume.
Dying.
And so I think that they'll start to make a bit of a comeback there. And I just think that overall, Solana has a lot of interesting stuff going on in the infrastructure level, right? There's kind of like some infighting right now with the Jito guys versus the Harmonic guys. And then Solana's trying to do like multiple concurrent proposers. I just think that you've had the prop AMMs on
Can we
Solana
lose him?
over the past like few months become really big. It's just kind of like a lot of the innovation just in like pure raw trading and everything is like come from Solana, right? And I think that this is a year where you really start to see. Last year was kind of like a backseat to Hyperliquid type year. I think that this year Solana comes back into the foreground.
Price prediction.
For Solana,
Yeah,
oh man, that's tough.
I know. Worst question ever. Good luck.
It's so hard for you to pick Solana. I think that I tweeted this the other day. Like my highest conviction is that MetaDAO becomes a unicorn this year.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So that's like my strongest one because I just think everything is kind of aligned for them. Um, you know, they moved from this futarchy thing more to this ICO platform. Coliseum made the stamp thing with them, so they got the legal structures in place. They have some good VCs on board, but the VCs bought at like market prices, OTC, and everything. Like, there's a lot of good narrative things. So, and they're just like trying to fix this part of the market that I think is just so important to fix. And so, I'll be disappointed if MetaDAO doesn't have a good year, not just because of like my bags, but also just because if they don't have a good year, I'm not sure if it's because a competitor is going to like out compete them. It's because that there's not product market fit.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate.
And would kind of like suck because
That would
I think what
fucking
they're
suck.
trying to do is really good. So yeah, I think that like discussing L1 tokens is interesting though. Like, it's tough, man. Like, if I I hold Sol over ETH if I have to hold one of the L1 tokens, but it's like it's tough. It's tough. Like, how are people going to value L1 tokens over the next few years, right? Like, I think it's easier for me to just get behind Solana because I just am totally.
By the way, I agree with you on the Solana take. Solana is like so overhated. It's objectively the best chain right now by a country mile. Everything serious happens on Solana right now. It just does.
Yeah, they just need to, and they're starting to get better assets too, right?
Yes.
And so that's big. And like that FX thing we talked about earlier, that's not going to happen this year, but like I'm sure FX trading on Solana makes a lot of sense for that too.
Yeah.
Because you need it to be, if you're doing FX trading, you actually need it on like a global L1, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And especially one with like multiple concurrent proposers. Because if it's just on like a single server L2 somewhere, but you're doing FX swaps, I don't know. That seems like not the right market structure.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love it. Guys, it was an absolute pleasure. I hope we can do it again. Jason, Ceteris, you guys you're fucking great. Thank you for coming on. Thanks for making some sick markets for us to look at, and I appreciate the takes. And God, I really hope you're correct, both of you.
Thanks for having us, man. This was a lot of fun.